My wife demanded an open marriage. To sleep around with other men, I immediately said yes. Then she discovered all her stuff packed outside. Be me, 38-year-old Marcus. My wife wanted an open relationship and jumped straight into hooking up with other guys. Then she lost her mind when the neighbor she always hated flirted with me. I told her, I'm just doing what you wanted. She shot back with, that's different, it doesn't count if it's someone we know. So I stopped arguing and played the long game. Let her have her fun. Meanwhile, I secured everything and planned my exit. Here's how it went down. I'm a long-haul delivery driver, been doing cross-country routes for 14 years. Good money, if you don't mind the solitude. Until recently, I thought my marriage to Lisa, 33 female, was decent enough. We've been together 12 years, married for 9. I bought my house before we got married. 3-bed, 2-bath, built in the early 2000s. Paid $180,000 for it back in 2013, and now it's worth close to $420,000. When we first got together, Lisa seemed to appreciate my stability. I'd be gone for days driving routes, then home for a few. We had a system. She worked at a marketing firm, handled cooking. I took care of repairs and yard work. Simple arrangement that worked. Practical division of labor that made sense given my schedule. Our life wasn't Instagram-worthy according to today's standards, but it was solid. We'd go camping up in the mountains, hang out with a small circle of friends, watch movies on weekends, normal stuff. I thought we were on the same page about what marriage meant. Partnership, loyalty, building something together. Then things shifted when her sister Brittany, 40 female, moved back to town after her second divorce. Divorced twice, always chasing some new guy or life experience. The kind of woman who posts inspirational quotes on social media while her life is a complete train wreck. Suddenly, she was at our house constantly, filling Lisa's head with stories about exotic vacations, weekend flings, and how life is too short to be tied down. I wasn't blind. I saw the changes happening in real time. Lisa went from being content with our life to suddenly acting like she was missing out on some grand adventure. She started following all these lifestyle influencers, women in their 30s and 40s with suspicious amounts of free time and money, who were constantly traveling to Costa Rica or wherever. I started noticing changes in Lisa after that. Small stuff at first. Complaints about our boring routine. Comments about how I wouldn't understand certain things because I'm just a delivery driver. Like suddenly the job that paid for everything was something to look down on. The way she'd roll her eyes when I talked about saving for retirement or home improvements. She started making these weird comments about other couples we knew. Like, did you know Tom and Karen are in therapy? Apparently they're working through some issues about sexual compatibility. Just dropping these little bombs during dinner like they were totally normal conversation topics. 4 months ago, she quit her job without even discussing it with me. I need to find myself, Marcus, she announced one night while I was exhausted from a 16-hour drive. This marketing job is killing my soul. I'm meant for more. I was too tired to argue, just asked what's the plan. Another job? School? Reasonable questions, I thought. I need some time to explore my options, she said. Like she was a recent college grad instead of a 33-year-old woman with bills. I've been thinking about something that allows me to express myself. Express yourself on somebody else's dime, I thought, but didn't say. We had enough savings to float her for a bit, and I figured maybe some time off would help her reset. But apparently that meant scrolling Instagram and meeting Brittany for endless brunches while I was on the road. Our agreement about splitting responsibilities gone. I'd come home to a dirty house, no food, and attitude when I mentioned it. Dishes piled in the sink, laundry untouched. Meanwhile, she'd somehow found time to buy new clothes and get her nails done twice a week. The worst part wasn't even the mess. It was walking into my own house and feeling like a visitor, like I was interrupting her real life. She'd be on the phone with Brittany or some new friend, and she'd give me this look like, oh, you're back, before returning to her conversation. Housework is beneath me. She actually said that once when I asked if she could at least load the dishwasher. It's so restrictive to my growth. I didn't make a big deal out of it, just started doing everything myself. Cooking my meals, cleaning, doing my laundry, while working 65+ hours a week on the road. But I started checking out mentally. Spent more time with my buddies at the garage where we work on project cars. I've got this '69 Mustang I've been restoring for years. Nothing clears the head like working on an old engine. You don't have to guess what's wrong, you diagnose it, you fix it, it works again. If only relationships were that straightforward. Then the fights became more common. I'd point out that she wasn't contributing, she'd call me controlling and financially abusive. I'd mention our agreement, she'd say agreements evolve, and I needed to get with the times. I'd ask about her job search and she'd accuse me of not supporting her journey. So there I was getting home from a 4-day haul thinking it was just another Wednesday. Lisa asked me to sit down in the living room. She had that look where someone's about to drop a bomb. Marcus, she started, swirling her glass. I've been doing a lot of thinking about us. Uh-huh. My stomach did a little flip, but I kept my face neutral. I think it's time we explored, she finally said with a straight face. Explore, I asked, keeping my voice even. Explored what? National parks? She gave me this impatient sigh. No Marcus, with other people, an open marriage. My brain short-circuited. This was Lisa, my Lisa, the woman who once got jealous when I mentioned a female truck stop cashier was friendly. Now she's casually pitching, screwing other people like she's suggesting we try a new restaurant. Wait, are you serious? Was all I could manage? Yes, completely, she said, with this weird brightness in her voice. I think it could be really liberating for us, bring a new spark. We both get to experience new things, new people, no secrets. It's all above board. This marriage is so restrictive. I want to explore others. My first reaction was anger, followed by this weird, cold calm. So you want to sleep with other guys? Cheat? Without saying you want to cheat? I said flatly. It's not just that she stammered. It's about freedom and growth for both of us. I want to see other men, more interesting men. Interesting. I said like that personal trainer you and Brittany keep talking about. Her face flushed. Bingo. She'd been mentioning this Tyler guy for weeks. How inspiring his journey was. How he'd quit his corporate job to become a fitness instructor. How he was really connecting with his authentic self. Authentic self, whatever the hell that means. We argued for about an hour. The usual points. She wanted experiences. I pointed out vows mean something. She said I was stuck in patriarchal thinking. I reminded her she used to value loyalty, round and round. She kept using these buzzwords, evolving relationship models, ethical non-monogamy, expanding our capacity for connection, like she'd swallowed a self-help book. Meanwhile, I was thinking about mortgage payments and STD risks. Finally, I just stopped arguing and decided to play the long game. Okay, Lisa, I said. Lisa blinked. Okay. Yeah, I said, if that's what you want, let's do it. She looked like someone who'd prepared for a war and suddenly found the enemy surrendering. Suspicious but relieved. Let her think she'd won. That would make the next moves easier. Lisa's shocked expression quickly morphed into a smug smile like she'd won something. Wow, I didn't think you'd be so open-minded. She was practically bouncing. This is going to be amazing for us, Marcus. We should set some ground rules. I nodded. Sure, what were you thinking? She jumped right in. Well, we should be honest about who we're seeing. No lying or sneaking around. And we should still prioritize each other like date nights and stuff. Makes sense, I said, and maybe we start with just casual things. Nothing serious or emotional with other people? I just kept nodding, watching her lay out this framework she'd obviously been thinking about for weeks. Probably had the personal trainer guy lined up already. He'd been liking all her Instagram posts, subtle. When were you thinking of starting, I asked. She looked away. Well, there's a gym social thing tomorrow night. Of course there was. Go for it, I said. I've got a 4-day haul starting tomorrow anyway. She was confused and seemed almost disappointed at how easy this was. She'd clearly been rehearsing arguments in her head. Expected me to fight harder, maybe even wanted me to. The next 8 weeks were wild. Lisa dove into her new lifestyle with enthusiasm. I'd respond with simple okay or have fun messages. Never asked for details, drove her crazy that I wasn't jealous. It was like watching someone live out a fantasy they'd convinced themselves was sophisticated and evolved. When really, it was wanting to have sex with someone new while keeping your security blanket at home. Meanwhile, I was quietly putting my house in order. Called my bank and set up a new account at a different bank. Started moving small amounts over, nothing suspicious. Just enough to build a safety net. Documented everything happening in our marriage in a password-protected file. Scheduled a consultation with a divorce attorney during one of my longer hauls. I also stepped up my gym routine. Started doing heavy compound lifts. Added cardio. Lost 18 pounds of fat. Started gaining muscle. Started taking better care of myself overall. Figured if I was going to be single again, might as well be the best version of myself. The attorney Kevin had seen it all before. Classic case, he said after I explained the situation. She wants to have her cake and eat it too. Your house is premarital, so that's protected. No kids makes it cleaner. Keep documenting everything and don't confront her yet. Kevin was this no-nonsense guy in his 50s, divorced twice himself, ironically enough. Said his own experiences made him better at his job. Could spot the patterns because he'd lived them. Women like your wife, he said, leaning back in his chair. They think they've got it all figured out. Think they can have the freedom of being single with the security of being married. Doesn't work that way. I followed his advice, kept my head down, let Lisa have her fun, and quietly prepared for the inevitable. About 3 months into this arrangement, the other shoe dropped. There's a neighbor, Jessica, 32 female, who lives 2 doors down. Hot as hell, fitness instructor type, always in yoga pants. For years, she'd been too friendly with me, according to Lisa, who'd made jealous comments about it. Jessica would sometimes chat with me when I was working on my truck in the driveway. Simple stuff, cars, neighborhood gossip. I'd always kept it strictly neighborly out of respect for my marriage. Jessica was single, no kids, taught fitness classes at a studio downtown. One Saturday, I was changing the oil in my truck when Jessica came over. "Hey, neighbor." She smirked, leaning against my toolbox. "Haven't seen you around much lately." "Been on the road a lot," I said, wiping my hands on a rag. She looked good, tank top, shorts, the works. She smiled at me different than before, more intent. "So I heard through the grapevine that you and Lisa have some kind of arrangement now." I looked up at her. "Where'd you hear that?" "Small neighborhood. Lisa's been seen around with that guy a few times. Pretty obvious what's happening." She shrugged, just curious if it goes both ways. Before I could answer, Lisa's car pulled into the driveway. Her face when she saw Jessica talking to me, priceless. Pure panic. She practically ran over. "Marcus, what's going on?" Jessica smiled innocently, just saying hi to Marcus. "Right," Lisa said, eyes darting between us. "Marcus, can I talk to you inside for a minute?" The moment we were through the door, she exploded. "What the hell was that, you and Jessica?" "We were just talking," I said calmly, like we've done for years. "Don't play dumb. She was practically undressing you with her eyes." I raised an eyebrow. "And that's a problem because it's Jessica. The woman I've been telling you for years has a thing for you." I leaned against the counter. "I thought we had an open marriage now. Isn't that what you wanted to explore?" Her face went through about 5 different emotions. "That's different. Jessica is someone we see all the time. It would be weird and messy. So your personal trainer is fine, but my neighbor isn't? Interesting. It's not the same," she insisted. "Tyler is. He's just casual. No emotions, and Jessica wouldn't be casual. Because she's had a thing for you forever. She'd want more." Lisa was practically yelling now. I stayed perfectly calm. "So your problem isn't that I might hook up with someone else. Your problem is that it might be someone who actually likes me." That's not what I said. "It's exactly what you said, Lisa. You're fine with me having meaningless sex with strangers, but God forbid I connect with someone who might actually care about me." The fight continued for hours. Her position kept shifting. First, Jessica was off limits because she was a neighbor. Then because she was Lisa's enemy, news to me. Then because open marriages should be about new experiences, not old crushes. I finally just walked out and went to the garage. Spent the rest of the day working on my project car. Gave me time to think. The next few weeks were tense. Lisa continued her exploration with personal trainer Tyler and apparently some other guy she met at a bar. Meanwhile, I was under surveillance. She'd randomly come home early when I was off work. Started checking my phone when she thought I was sleeping. Even tried to get the password to my new email account. I gave her nothing to find, which only made her more paranoid. The emptier the treasure chest, the more convinced she became that I'd hidden the real goods somewhere else. Classic projection, she was being shady, so obviously I must be too. My focus shifted entirely to self-improvement. I was hitting the gym 6 days a week now. Started reading books on finance and investment during my long hauls. Reconnected with old friends I'd lost touch with during my marriage. Had actual hobbies again. I was honestly in the best shape of my life. Down to 175 from 205, bench pressing more than I had in my 20s. There's something therapeutic about pushing heavy weight when your life feels out of control. Can't fix your marriage, at least you can add another plate to the bar. The divorce lawyer became my unofficial buddy. I'd call him during long stretches of highway, update him on the latest developments, and he'd remind me to stay the course. Document everything, don't engage, let her dig her own grave. Then Jessica upped the ante. She texted me one afternoon. "Having a small barbecue this weekend, just a few neighbors. You should come by, Lisa too, of course. I showed Lisa the text, thought she might actually explode. We're not going, she snapped. She's just trying to get close to you. Maybe I want to go, I said mildly. Good food, neighbors, normal social stuff. While you ogle Jessica in her bikini, I don't think so. Interesting how you get to go on actual dates with other men. But I can't attend a neighborhood BBQ. That's different and, different. How exactly? She couldn't articulate it without admitting the hypocrisy. Just kept saying it was different, and I was being deliberately obtuse. I went to the BBQ anyway. Lisa refused to come. It was exactly what Jessica said. Just a few neighbors, good food, drinks, completely innocent. Jessica and I talked, but nothing inappropriate happened. One of the other neighbors, this older guy named Walter who'd been in the neighborhood forever, pulled me aside at one point. Heard about your situation, he said, handing me a drink. Went through something similar with my first wife back in '95. These open marriage things never work out the way they're pitched. Someone always has an agenda. Walter had this weathered face that had seen it all. Vietnam vet, retired now, but still built like he could handle himself. The kind of guy who'd give you the shirt off his back, but wouldn't hesitate to tell you when you were being an idiot. How'd yours end, I asked. He chuckled. Caught her with my so-called best friend. Turns out the open part was just for her, not for me. Classic bait and switch. He took a sip of his drink. Divorced her. Lost the house because I didn't know any better back then. Best thing that ever happened to me, though. Married Helen 8 years later. Been together 32 years now. When I got home, Lisa was waiting. Excuse me. Jessica, don't lie to me. Wait, why would that be a problem to you? Didn't we open our marriage? Jessica is the problem. Yeah, sure. She was boiling. Checked my clothes for perfume. What the hell are you doing? Seriously sniffing? The irony was so thick you could cut it with a knife. Her checking for evidence of cheating while she had hickeys, she wasn't even bothering to hide. Stop lying to me, dear Lord. The next day, Brittany showed up at the house while Lisa was out with one of her guys. Just happened to stop by. Marcus, she said, walking in without waiting for an invitation. We need to talk. About what I asked, not bothering to get up from the couch. About what you're doing to Lisa. She's a mess. I actually laughed. What I'm doing to Lisa, that's rich. She wanted to open the relationship to improve things between you two. To add spice, not so you could chase the first piece of ass that showed interest. Interesting. Brittany sat down uninvited. Lisa cares about you. She's just trying to find herself. In other guys' beds? Don't be crude. This was supposed to be a mutual growth experience. Mutual, I repeated. So why is it a problem that I went to a neighborhood BBQ? Because your intentions weren't pure. You were trying to hurt Lisa. By eating a hamburger? Brittany sighed dramatically. You're being deliberately thick. Lisa knows Jessica has had a thing for you for years. It's disrespectful. And Lisa screwing personal trainer Tyler isn't disrespectful. That's different. That's just physical. There's no history there. Same BS, different messenger. I stood up. Brittany, with all due respect, which is none. This is between me and Lisa. You encouraged her to find herself and to open our marriage. Don't act surprised when it doesn't play out exactly how you imagined. That night, Lisa tried a different approach. Came home wearing next to nothing. Tried to seduce me. I wasn't interested. What's wrong? She asked. I thought we could reconnect. I'm not in the mood, I said. Is this about her? She demanded. The seductive act vanishing instantly. No, it's about me not being in the mood. You're punishing me? I agreed to exactly what you wanted. 5 months into our open marriage, I was documenting everything. Every fight about her double standards. Every time she came home late from being with another guy. Every dollar she spent from our joint account on her new lifestyle. Clothes, dinners, hotel rooms. I had a separate email account she didn't know about, where I forwarded all our text conversations. Screenshots of her social media where she'd post vague quotes about finding herself and exploring new connections, while in the same breath complaining about trust issues and emotional betrayal when referring to me. The mental separation was complete. I looked at her like a stranger now. There was one night about 4 months in when I came home unexpectedly early from a route. Walked in to find Lisa and Brittany sitting at our kitchen table, with a bottle of wine between them, planning what sounded like my financial execution. Just need to figure out how to get your name on the deed somehow, Brittany was saying, or at least establish that you've contributed significantly to its value. I backed out silently, then made a show of coming in loudly a minute later. They switched topics immediately, but the damage was done. These weren't just two sisters exploring modern relationship structures. This was a coordinated effort to take me for everything I had. My lawyer was building a solid case. In our state, adultery doesn't matter much for divorce, but financial irresponsibility and abandonment do, and Lisa was checking both boxes. She quit her job, contributed nothing to the household, and spent our money freely. Meanwhile, I paid the mortgage on my premarital home, all the bills, and still handled the maintenance and cleaning. Classic abandonment of marital duties. But I played it cool, didn't confront her, didn't rock the boat too much. Just quietly moved on and prepared. Meanwhile, my physical transformation continued steadily. My confidence was through the roof compared to where I started. Clothes fit better, posture improved. Even my boss commented on the positive changes. "Whatever's going on with you," he said once, "keep doing it. You're looking good, working better than ever." Jessica had become an unexpected ally. Not romantically, but as someone who saw through Lisa's BS. She was at the coffee shop yesterday. Jessica texted me during a haul to Orlando, with some guy acting all coupley. Then she had the nerve to give me a dirty look when she saw me. Lisa was living a double life. The devoted wife when it suited her, the single party girl when it didn't. I also installed security cameras in the common areas of the house, completely legal since it was my premarital property. I didn't tell Lisa about them. They captured her bringing guys over when I was on the road, something she'd specifically said she wouldn't do. Our bed is our space, she'd claimed when setting the initial rules. That rule apparently only applied to me. The cameras also caught her going through my desk drawers, checking my mail, searching for God knows what. Financial documents probably, or evidence of my own indiscretions that she could use against me. I also overheard her and Brittany bad-mouthing me in my own living room, planning how to handle me, discussing what they do with the house when the time comes, as if it would ever be hers. "I just need to keep him pacified until I figure out my next move," Lisa said. "Tyler's fun, but he's not exactly husband material. And I need to be smart about this house. It's worth a fortune now with the market the way it is." They went on to discuss how she might claim partial ownership of the house, despite it being my premarital asset. Brittany suggested claiming she'd contributed significantly to its upkeep and improvement, which was laughable given she'd never so much as changed a light bulb. I sent the recording to my lawyer. He was gleeful. "This is gold," he said. "Clear evidence of intent to defraud. Keep recording." I did. Every conversation, every fight, every lie. All documented, all saved, all sent to my lawyer. Meanwhile, my exit strategy was taking shape. I'd secured a storage unit for my important possessions. Family heirlooms, documents, the small gun collection my grandfather had left me. Anything that couldn't be replaced or I didn't want to risk losing in the inevitable chaos of separation. I'd transferred about 65% of our joint savings to my new account, not enough to be considered hiding assets, but enough to ensure I wasn't left high and dry if she tried to clean out the accounts. I was waiting for my opportunity with Lisa, and it was coming soon. 7 months into our open marriage, things were reaching a breaking point. Lisa was getting sloppy, staying out all night, barely bothering to lie about where she was, spending money like water. I had strategically moved most of our joint funds to my separate account, leaving just enough for bills and basic expenses, plus a healthy buffer she could burn through with her brunches and hotel rendezvous. Just enough to avoid suspicion. She hadn't even checked the balance once in months, too busy finding herself to look at bank statements or question where the money came from since she wasn't working. Then one night everything changed. I came home from a 4-day haul to find Lisa and personal trainer Tyler in our living room, drinking and looking very comfortable. "Marcus," she said with fake brightness. "You remember Tyler?" Tyler looked uncomfortable but tried to play it cool. "Hey man, good to finally meet you properly." He was exactly what I expected. Mid-30s, expensive haircut, the kind of muscles that come from focusing on mirror muscles and skipping leg day, wearing one of those tech fabric shirts that cost $90 but are essentially just polyester. Seeing Tyler there, feet up on my couch, that was bad. Watching him pour my birthday Macallan into a solo cup, that was the final straw. I sat down my duffel bag. "You're drinking my Macallan?" Lisa waved dismissively. "Don't be petty. I bought that bottle." She hadn't. It was a birthday gift from my brother that she had watched me open last month. But that wasn't the point. "You brought him to our house," I said flatly. "That was one of your rules. No bringing people to our home." "I think we're past that now," she said with an eye roll. "It's been 7 months, the rules evolve. Like they evolved about Jessica." Tyler looked between us, clearly sensing the tension. "Maybe I should go." "No, stay," Lisa insisted, putting her hand on his arm. "Marcus is just being dramatic. This is my house too." Something in me snapped at that moment. I was done. Actually, I said calmly, it's not. Excuse me. Lisa's eyes narrowed. This house isn't yours, it never was. I bought it before we were married. You've contributed nothing to the mortgage, taxes, or upkeep. Legally, you're a tenant at best. Her face flushed with anger. How dare you? We're married. What's yours is mine. That's not how premarital assets work in this state, I said. But I'm sure Brittany told you that when you were discussing how to take my house when the time comes. Lisa's face went white. Tyler looked like he wanted to disappear through the floor. What are you talking about? She stammered. I heard you and Brittany planning your next move, discussing how to claim my house, calling me a sucker. You were spying on me, she shrieked. Not spying, protecting my assets from someone who's explicitly stated her intention to take them. Tyler stood up. I'm leaving. This is not what you said. It was Lisa. She ignored him, focused entirely on me. You've been planning this all along, agreeing to the open marriage just to trap me. I actually laughed. Trap you into what? Sleeping with other men? Having your sister over to plot against me? Bringing your buddy to my house to drink my whiskey? Yeah, what an elaborate trap. Tyler was already heading for the door. Smart guy. Don't you dare leave, Lisa yelled after him. This isn't about you. But he was gone. At least he had the sense to recognize a shit show when he saw one. Lisa rounded on me. You've ruined everything. This was working fine until you got all possessive and weird. Working fine for who exactly? You get to sleep around while I work 65 hours a week to pay for everything. You get to bring men to my house while I can't even talk to a neighbor without being accused of cheating? That's your definition of working fine. I never cheated, we had an agreement. An agreement you unilaterally changed whenever it suited you. She tried a different angle, suddenly teary-eyed. I just needed to find myself, Marcus. I was lost. This was never about not loving you. Save it, I said. I've watched you find yourself for 7 months. Turns out what you found was that you like screwing other guys while having a stable provider at home. Well, that arrangement is over. What does that mean? She asked, suddenly wary. It means I'm done. I've been done for months. I've just been waiting for the right time. The right time for what? Her voice had gone small. To end this farce of a marriage. She stared at me, then her expression hardened. Fine if that's what you want. But don't think I'm walking away with nothing. I know my rights. Half this house is mine. Half your pension, half of everything. I smiled. We'll see about that. I crashed at a motel that night. By morning, I was on the phone with my lawyer. It's time, I told him. She brought one of her guys to my house drinking my stuff. He was ready, papers were prepped. Everything organized to maximize my position and minimize her claims. I headed back to the house to grab another round of clothes before I hit the road again. Lisa was waiting like she'd been standing there all night. Red eyes, messy bun, and of course Brittany lurking nearby like her personal attack dog. They were suddenly all about being civil. Lisa wanted to talk next steps, apparently. She and Brittany had already been scoping out divorce attorneys. The plan now was to do it amicably. Their words, not mine. Brittany had the nerve to suggest that Lisa deserved probably at least 70 or 75% of everything. Since I was clearly the one breaking the marriage contract, pure delusion with zero legal basis. But they both nodded like it was established law. Lisa acted like she deserved a cut of everything, claimed she contributed by being present, emotionally supportive. The whole script? Brittany doubled down, saying Lisa had been the backbone of the household. I didn't even argue, no point. The reality was simple. She didn't clean, didn't work, didn't maintain a thing. Every time I came home from a haul, the place looked like a crime scene. I handled the cleaning, the bills, the yard, everything. Name one thing you did in the last 7 months, I said calmly. Silence. She couldn't name a single useful thing she'd done in the last 7 months. Her defense was emotional labor and some vague nonsense about presence and vibes. Here's what's going to happen, I said, zipping up my duffel. I'm going on my scheduled haul. When I get back in 4 days, I expect you to be making arrangements to move out. What? I'm not going anywhere, Lisa declared. This is my home too. It's not, and I think you'll find the courts agree with me. We'll see about that, Brittany said smugly. My friend Carol is a divorce attorney. Wives get half regardless of whose name is on the deed. Your friend Carol sounds like a shitty attorney, I replied. But hey, hire her. Should make this easier for me. I left them standing there, both convinced they held all the cards. The delusion was almost sad. 4 days on the road gave me time to prepare for what was coming. My lawyer filed the divorce papers detailing Lisa's abandonment of marital duties, financial irresponsibility, and explicit statements of intent to defraud me of my premarital assets. He also filed for an emergency hearing regarding occupancy of the house, using the security footage of Lisa bringing another man home as evidence that her continued presence would be detrimental to the petitioner's well-being and property. When I got back from my haul, Lisa and Brittany were waiting with a document of their own. A handwritten list of demands. Marcus acknowledges 55% ownership of the house, pays spousal support of $3,500 per month for 6 years, transfers 55% of his 401k to Lisa, covers all Lisa's legal fees, provides health insurance for Lisa for 4 years, post-divorce. This is our starting position, Brittany said like she was some hotshot negotiator. We're willing to be reasonable if you are. I scanned the list and handed it back. Yeah, nope. What do you mean, no, Lisa asked. That's not how this works, Brittany snapped, her face reddening. You think you can just throw Lisa away after she gave you the best years of her life? You're pathetic. Actually, this is how it works. I pulled out my own envelope and handed it to Lisa. She opened it, her hands shaking slightly as she read. Her face went from confusion to shock to fury. What is this BS, she demanded. These are lies? They're all documented. You've been served, I said calmly. Her voice went up an octave. You've been recording me perfectly legal here and very informative. Especially your conversations with Brittany about taking my house when the time comes. Brittany grabbed the papers, scanning them frantically. This won't hold up. The house is marital property regardless of when you bought it. Not in this state. Not with a documented history of financial separation. And her contribution of exactly 0 to its mortgage or upkeep. You can't kick me out of my own home. Lisa was nearly hysterical now. It never was yours, and yes, I can and will. I'll fight this, she threatened. I'll tell everyone what you did, how you tricked me. Go ahead. She started crying then, those manipulative sobs she'd perfected over the years. The ones that used to make me back down, apologize, give in. Not anymore. You have until tomorrow afternoon to pack your essentials, I said. The court will likely grant you a few weeks to remove the rest of your belongings, supervised. This isn't over, Brittany hissed, putting her arm around Lisa. You're right, I agreed, but it's closer than you think. The judge ruled in my favor as expected. The evidence was overwhelming. Lisa was given 35 days to remove her belongings, but could not live in the house during the divorce proceedings. She moved in with Brittany, who quickly tired of having her sister as a permanent house guest. Turns out living with someone who contributes nothing isn't as fun when you're the one footing the bill. Within 3 weeks, they were fighting constantly. My lawyer had connected me with a financial advisor who helped me protect my assets during the divorce. We documented every penny I'd earned, every investment I'd made, every bill I'd paid during the marriage, creating an ironclad case that Lisa had no claim to any of it. Lisa's lawyer, not Brittany's friend Carol, but a court-appointed attorney, after Carol reviewed the evidence and declined to take the case, advised her to accept the settlement offer my lawyer had prepared. The house remains mine as a premarital asset. I keep my 401k and pension intact. I pay no spousal support. She keeps her car, which was in her name. She gets a one-time payment of $12,000, far less than she wanted, but more than she deserved. She fought it initially, still convinced she could get half of everything. But as the evidence mounted and her position weakened, she eventually capitulated. The divorce was finalized 5 months later. The day she came to get the last of her things, she tried one more angle. The day she came to get the last of her things, she tried one last Hail Mary. Her makeup was smudged. She looked like she hadn't slept in a week. And her hair was in that messy I'm having a breakdown bun. Brittany had apparently kicked her out. Word was, they'd been fighting non-stop. Personal trainer Tyler ghosted her. I still love you, Marcus, she said, standing in the entryway of what was now firmly my house again. We could start over. I've learned my lesson. I just looked at her, no Lisa. That's not fair, I made a mistake. Goodbye, Lisa, I said, closing the door as she left. That was 8 months ago. The divorce is final now. I kept everything that mattered. My house, my truck, my dignity. I ran into Jessica at the hardware store last week. We got coffee afterward. Nothing serious, just conversation. She asked if I was ready to date again. I told her I'm deliberately staying single for now, life goes on.